it may be a good time again to follow up any old leads that you have in your business. I was recently working with a business owner as part of our 90-day business planning program, and we were talking about the inquiries that they receive on their website. So two things here. When you do get an inquiry, speed wins in this day and age. People are so impatient with things. So what we notice with clients is that if they respond to their inquiry really quickly, people really appreciate that. So perhaps tuck that up your sleeve. It can become a piece of the value that you can provide or your unique difference, because it's highly likely that your competitors that they may also be getting in touch with won't be responding quickly. So try to get back to any inquiry as fast as you can, and even control that process. So maybe there's an automated piece to let them know how, but also, if you're collecting this information and it doesn't lead to anything, routinely go back through all of those old leads and see where did they get to. And why we want to do this is because people's behavior changes and their situation changes as well. So it could be that their financial situation has changed, their personal economy has changed. Remember that we all operate in a New Zealand-based economy at a high level, but each individual household has a very different economy. So as an example, you might find that someone that you had potentially offered to do some repairs for around their property for something, they may have come into some money, they may have had a pay rise, they may have had a lower interest rate be accepted, go on to a cheaper interest rate because of what's happened with the official cash rate coming down. So their economy will be changing, and it will be different to the time in which they got in touch. So a good reminder for all of us to go back and check with any of those old leads that we do have, where they're at and if they solve their problems. So a good way to think about this is to reach out to them and say, hey, we're just interested to know, did you solve XYZ problem that you normally solve for them? Did they make any progress with it? And see if you can get on the phone or send them a text. Text rates normally average a lot higher in terms of open rate rather than an email. So, if you're bold enough, maybe you're going to jump on the phone. We know a lot of Kiwi people and Kiwi business owners don't like picking up the phone and ringing. So, that could be your unfair advantage if you can get good at that. But maybe text is going to get you more cut through than an email. And maybe batch do this and go back through and have a look, okay, how did that inquiry come through? And so two things, how can you speed up your response to the current inquiry anyway? And secondly, how can you go back routinely through and see where did these people get to? And you have to think, economically in New Zealand over the last 2 years, things have really changed, and you might find that people are now more willing to spend, whereas they weren't a year ago or 18 months, 24 months ago. Now, this is, again, one of those tactics that a lot of us will probably go, okay, that makes sense, but there's probably no point in doing it. But, there is a point in doing it, and it's going to create a process for you that you may then embed into your business longer term and then get somebody else to do that routinely, and that's going to add to the value of your business should it then lead to more work and more revenue. But it's also going to get you practicing the muscle of doing that, and you're also going to put yourself in front of those people who got in touch and plant a seed of reminder for them. And maybe they think about you again in the future, or maybe they just do appreciate that you came back and checked back in with where they are. A lot of New Zealand business owners, especially SMEs, don't actually do any forms of marketing. So by going back and talking to the people who did show intent that they wanted to work with you, is a good form of marketing to do when you don't typically do a lot of marketing to generate new work coming in. And a lot of us, we can't just sit and hope that work is going to come rushing in the door, because it certainly isn't the case for a lot of Kiwi business owners. So you're going to have to find things that you are willing to do. And I think chasing up some of those old leads is a very simple one that you can allocate some time in your calendar to doing, and you might be surprised with the result that you get.